You ever reach that moment when you just stop talking? Not because you're angry, not because you're afraid, but because you finally see things for what they really are. That moment when silence becomes louder than words. That's where real strength lives. Welcome to Mind Hack Stoic. Let me tell you something. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is self-respect. It's what happens when peace becomes more important than being understood. It's when you no longer feel the need to argue, defend, or explain yourself to people who were never listening in the first place. The truth is, silence is transformation. It's the quiet shift inside you that says, I'm done bleeding for people who never cared if I was hurting. And when that shift happens, people feel it. They expected anger, arguments, and chasing. They thought you'd fight for their attention. But when you give them silence, you shake their entire world. They never expected calm. They never expected peace. And that silence, your silence, becomes the mirror they can't escape. Suddenly, they start realizing you were the one holding everything together. You were the one who listened, forgave, and tried. But now, the energy they took for granted is gone, and nothing is louder than the absence of effort. Silence hurts because it reveals truth. It shows who cared and who never did. When you stop responding, you stop feeding their ego. You stop playing the game. You stop giving them emotional power. They start wondering what happened, why you're not reacting, why you're not explaining, why you've become so calm. But what they don't realize is that silence means healing. You've chosen peace over pride. You've chosen growth over chaos. You've chosen to walk away without announcing it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike those who hurt you." That's exactly what silence is. It's your quiet revenge. When you go silent, you take back control. You remove their access to your emotions. You stop being predictable. They can't read you. They can't provoke you. They can't manipulate you anymore. And that mystery drives them insane. Their ego starts panicking because the game doesn't work without your reaction. They'll post, they'll gossip, they'll pretend they don't care, but deep down, they're confused. How can someone they thought they controlled suddenly be so calm, so detached, so untouchable? That's the power of silence. It starves their ego and feeds your peace. Silence forces them to face the reality they've been avoiding, that they lost someone who truly cared. When you stop talking, they're left alone with their guilt, their insecurity, and the echoes of their own choices. They replay every moment they ignored you, every time they disrespected you, every time they thought you'd never leave. And now, they sit in the silence they created. Seneca said, "He who needs others the least is the one with the greatest power." And that's exactly what silence gives you: power. The moment you stop needing them, you become free. You don't beg for closure. You don't demand apologies. You don't chase explanations. You simply move on. And that stillness, that emotional control, is what makes people finally respect you. Your silence becomes the loudest message you'll ever send. I'm done. You see, people who depended on your energy, your attention, your support, they feel the void instantly. They feel the emptiness when your texts don't come, when your calls don't happen, when your validation disappears. It unsettles them, because now they're forced to face themselves. They realize how much they relied on your emotional presence. But by then, it's too late. Silence exposes everything. It reveals who they are without your influence. It reveals what the relationship was when you stopped holding it together. And that realization, that cold, quiet truth, is what breaks them. Your silence is not just peace, it's accountability. You're no longer explaining. You're no longer teaching someone how to treat you. You're just gone. That's when people start to understand your value. They see the difference between your presence and your absence. They realize your calm was their comfort, your patience was their protection, and your effort was the glue that held everything together. Now that it's gone, they start to panic. But you finally learned what true self-control feels like. Silence destroys ego, theirs and yours. Because when you choose silence, you're no longer ruled by emotion. You don't need to win arguments. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need validation. You've mastered yourself. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And your silence is that mastery. It's your declaration that you are no longer available for chaos. You're no longer accessible to manipulation. You are no longer giving free access to your peace. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. When they don't know what you're thinking, they lose control. Their mind starts to eat them alive. They wonder if you've moved on, if you've stopped caring, if you're happier without them. And the truth is, you probably are. Because silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. It's full of growth, clarity, and strength. It's where you rebuild yourself quietly, without needing anyone's attention. Silence forces people to feel the weight of your absence and the power of your boundaries. They start realizing you were the calm in their storm, and without you, life feels colder, smaller, and emptier. That's why silence is power. It's not running away. It's rising above. You don't have to announce that you've outgrown someone. Your silence will say it for you. When you no longer respond, you reclaim your energy, your time, your focus. You begin to see that not everyone deserves access to your emotions. You start prioritizing your peace over their chaos, your growth over their drama. Silence becomes your new language, one that speaks volumes without uttering a word. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." And silence is the proof that your thoughts now belong to peace, not pain. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You don't need to prove anything. Your calm is your closure. Your silence is your statement. It's your final act of power. So the next time someone expects your reaction, give them your silence. Let it echo louder than any argument could. Let it remind them that access to you is earned, not given. You are not ignoring them. You are respecting yourself. Because silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you finally do. About yourself. You've learned that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. This is Mind Hack Stoic, where peace becomes strength and silence becomes your greatest power.